Good morning. It's Monday, August 4th. I'm Jeané Franseen here with you for the next few hours to give you all of your breaking news alerts, top stories, and of course, your live events of the day. As we begin this broadcast bright and early this Monday morning, we do want to begin with some breaking news. Take a look at your screen. Compelling images coming in this Monday morning as we are following breaking news courtesy of the Associated Press. They report Iran founded a new defense council after attacks in June by Israel. And the U.S. Iranian state media, they do confirm this Monday. Iran's Supreme National Security Council, the country's highest security body, made the decision to establish the Supreme National Defense Council, which will be headed by their area president. The council will handle defensive plans and improve the capabilities of Iran's armed forces. Several members will include the Speaker of Parliament, the head of the judiciary, and the chiefs of military branches and related ministries. The Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Ministries are expected to be council members, although the local report did not provide exact details. To provide further context, we do know that Iran's decision follows a 12-day air war by Israel and the U.S. that led to the deaths of nearly 1,100 people. This includes military chiefs and commanders. A ceasefire has been in force since shortly after those airstrikes targeted Iran's major nuclear facilities. Iran had a similar council during the 1980s war between Iran and Iraq that left nearly 1 million casualties on both sides. A lot to discuss, so we want to bring into the conversation none other than Morton Klein, the national president of the Zionist Organization of America. Mort, always a pleasure to have you join us here on Live Now from Fox. Good morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you this morning.
So, Mort, a lot of eyes are on this breaking news. I would love your first reaction. Iran establishing this National Defense Council following the latest attacks from Israel and, of course, the U.S. What is your response to this?
Well, this indicates that the 12-day war did not finish the job. America and Israel together did destroy much of the nuclear facilities that Iraq was developing in order to attack not only Israel, but America. They have developed international content, ICBMs, missiles that could have nuclear warheads that can reach America. So we have to understand this is a danger to us as well as Israel. But the problem is we did not finish the war. We did not get rid of this regime. As long as this regime is in power, the danger to Israel, America, and the Western world will continue to be there. Remember, in the rallies that Iran has, they keep screaming, chanting, death to America, death to Israel. First the Saturday people, next the Sunday people. In other words, first the Jews, next the Christians. America, they keep chanting, is the great Satan. Israel's the little Satan. So this is a danger to us. And we never should forget that the Iranians kidnapped hundreds of Americans back in 1979. They killed 241 Marines in Lebanon, U.S. Marines, and they were involved in training and funding the terrorists that did 9/11. This is an extreme danger to America and the Western world. And the fact that they've now recreated this council shows that the job is not done. We have to get rid of this regime. Otherwise, the danger will continue to be there, even though the danger is less now because they've minimized the ability to develop nuclear weapons for the next 6 months to 2 years.
Yeah, and Mort, as you mentioned those chants, we've heard those chants right here in our own backyard. We've seen several protests across college campuses and in universities, people in support of Hamas and other terroristic organizations. With you being with the Zionist Organization of America, could you share that national security threat that this poses? For many people, they might say we are already under that threat with what we've seen with those protests.
So many people in America and on the campuses have believed the lies of Hamas. Hamas claiming that Israel's intentionally starving people, intentionally shooting innocent civilians. This is completely false, and it caused an outrage against both America and against Israel. So I'm very, very worried that there are Iranian and other Hamas terrorist cells in America God forbid, ready to commit terrorism against the United States of America. So Donald Trump has done a great job in punishing the universities who have allowed these types of horrific rallies, calling for the murder of Jews by saying globalize the Intifada, calling for the destruction of Israel, and praising Hamas, a terrorist group committed to the destruction of both Jews and of Christians. Mahmoud al-Zahar, the co-founder of Hamas, said, I want the world to understand, first we're going to kill all the Jews, next we're going to kill all the Christians. This is a danger to all of us. That's why we must support Israel in fighting this war against Hamas until Hamas is destroyed. Anything less than that will continue the danger to both Israel and to America.
Mort, as we are further discussing conflict in the Middle East this morning, a lot of eyes are on that term Palestinian State. The latest on your screen from Reuters, as Prime Minister Mark Carney said that Canada intends to recognize a Palestinian state. This was mentioned at a meeting of the United Nations in September. We know several other world leaders have made this same recognition. For those not familiar with this term, again, as I mentioned, a lot of eyes on this term this morning. What is a Palestinian state? What does it mean? What does it represent?
First of all, we have to understand it is completely illegal to establish a Palestinian state under international law without Israel's approval. United Nations Resolution Article 80 says explicitly that one is not permitted to give away any of this land, which was allotted to the Jewish people, without Israel's permission. So establishing a state is completely illegal under international law. What's worse, this simply rewards and incentivizes terrorism. After this vicious attack, October 7th, where 1,200 innocent Jews were murdered, raped, and tortured, to give them a state sends a message that terrorism pays. And who's going to run the state? Is it Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian Authority? His charter, I have a copy of his charter right here. Let me just read just the first sentence of the charter. It says, we oppose any political solution offered as an alternative to demolishing the Zionist occupation in Palestine. And the Hamas charter calls for the murder of every Jew and the destruction of Israel. So who's going to run the state? These terrorists? Do you know right now the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, who they're considering to run such a potential state, pays Arabs a lifetime pension to murder Jews and Christians. A lifetime. If an Arab murders a Jew or a Christian, they get a lifetime pension. They spend $400 million a year doing this. Who's ever heard of such a thing? They name schools, streets, and sports teams after killers of Jews and Christians. This is a vicious terrorist regime. Why on earth would we want another terrorist state in the world? It would be a disaster. And let me just show you a picture of the map of the Middle East. I don't know if you can see this too well. All the yellow you see are the 23 Arab states, which is double the size of the United States. In the middle there, the yellow, there it is, the yellow you can barely see, that's Israel. Israel is a tiny little state, smaller than New Jersey, and you want to set up yet another Arab state, which will be a terrorist state. It is a ridiculous notion, and more proof what the state will be. This is their emblem. That's a shape of all of Israel as Palestine, with the keffiyeh over all of it, a picture of Arafat, an arch terrorist, and a Kalashnikov rifle. Setting up a state will simply be setting up another Islamic Arab terrorist state, which would be a disaster for the world. This makes no sense. We have to fight against this as strongly as we possibly can.
Mort, as we know at this hour, a conflict in the Middle East is ongoing. I wanted to provide a live look at the Israel-Gaza skyline on this Monday morning. You can see plumes of smoke in the distance. We are working to see if that's maybe an Israeli Defense Forces working on something, or if that, in fact, is an airstrike. But as we work to learn more, I want to get back to what you were mentioning about the latest of the, quote, Palestinian state. There are those that differ that viewpoint that you just mentioned this morning, that feel that the Palestinian state is necessary because of the humanitarian crisis going on in the area. They say not everyone in Palestine is a terrorist. How do you and your organization respond to that?
90% of the Gaza Arabs supported Hamas and voted for them. 90%. This is their own polls, their own election. 93% have publicly stated that they praise October 7th, these atrocities. This is a terrorist regime where virtually all the people support this terrorism and the murder of Jews and Americans. So this is no time to establish a state, notwithstanding that it's illegal under international law. But a state should be established only if there's stability of institutions. They don't have that. If they're a democracy, they don't have that. Do you know they had Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian Authority, has been a dictator since 2005. They don't allow elections. Hamas doesn't allow elections. We want another dictatorship in the world? No. We need the rule of law. There's no rule of law and human rights respects. They murder gay people. They treat women horribly. They have virtually no rights. We don't want to set up a terrorist dictatorship which will endanger the people in the Middle East and will endanger the people, frankly, of the West. So this makes no sense whatsoever. They are not ready for a state. First, they have to show they care about human rights. They care about democracy. They have elections. So the problem is the Gaza Arabs overwhelmingly support Hamas, support terrorism. We have to go in there and change their educational system where they teach young Arab kids to hate Jews and Americans, to hate Jews and Christians, and teach them how to use guns and how to kill people. I'm talking about 5 and 6 and 7-year-olds in school. Until they transform and change the educational system, peace will be impossible. This is no time to give them even more power. Remember, Iraq has a state. North Korea has a state. Iran has a state. Are they lovely because they have a state? No. They have even more power to promote their terrorist agenda. It would be a disastrous mistake to establish a Palestinian state in the Middle East. It would only make things worse, not better.
Morton, I want to transition to take a close look at Israeli response this morning, giving you and the viewers a live look out in Jerusalem on this Monday morning. We know since the beginning of October 7th, Israeli Defense Forces and the Israeli government, they have been adamant that the conflict is not against the Palestinian people, but yet against Hamas, Iran, Hezbollah, those Yemen Houthi rebels, all of the terrorist organizations that are combating them at this hour. As we discuss this Palestinian state, you mentioned several facts about women that are oppressed in that area, other horrible things that are going on. Some world leaders saying that if Hamas is no longer in control of certain areas, that this Palestinian state could turn the hands of time. Do you think that's a reality?
Then who will run it if Hamas doesn't run it? It'll be the Palestinian Authority, which is a terrorist dictatorship calling for the destruction of Israel and the murder of every Jew. Remember, they pay Arabs, the Palestinian Authority, lifetime pensions if an Arab murders a Jew or a Christian. This is so even if Hamas doesn't run it, the other leaders among the Palestinians are terrorists as well, who refuse to accept Israel as a Jewish state, who attack and condemn America, who pay people to murder Jews. And they train their children in school to hate the West, to hate Jews, to hate Christians. No, they're not ready for a state. And I want to reemphasize, under a UN resolution, Article 80, it is illegal under international law to give any part of this land away to anyone except the Jewish people. So unless Israel agrees, a state cannot be established under the UN because it's illegal under international law.
Morton Klein, a pleasure having this candid conversation with you. Thank you so much for your debrief, also for your perspective on this topic. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much for having this important discussion and bringing this important news to the American people. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much. Have a great Monday, Morton.